Why is it still going? Oh, okay.
Are we
Uh,
good?
I was still hearing.
You don't hear the music.
Wow, now I'm echoing. Do you hear my echo?
I don't. You got it on YouTube or something? You got to pull it up somewhere else?
Mm, no.
What up, chat? We got this thing. We're here. Brother Stark, Andre Ware, Zinsan. What up? Appreciate you. Who else? Professor Film Fan. What up, dog? Kane Montana. Good to see you, fella. Good to see you. Raptor Cloak. What up? What up? What up?
I'm gonna come back.
Okay. Alien Zucchini Brother. What up? Appreciate it. Yes, 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 yes. Like the video. Like the video. Smash the like. What up, Felix? Yeah, man, we are a chillmonger list tonight. Just me and Darius. You know, he had to support his fellow Canadian brother, Shea Gildress Alexander, the MVP of the league tonight on game one. So he's doing that. We'll have a packed show for y'all here tonight as soon as Darius roll on back through. What up, Johnny Washington? Ant Man, what up? Lawrence, what up? Got a lot to talk about today, y'all. Got a lot to talk about. Lots. Stuff happening in just about every studio that we care about. Lucasfilm news. We got DC stuff we talking about. Um, a sudden explosion of interest in Fantastic Four. Christopher Prieston lost his goddamn mind. What up, Tony Robinson? It's going tonight, man. Flood in, share the stream, like the stream, smash the like, as always.
Okay, got that fixed.
Matt was just setting the table for us, kind of giving us a preview of what we got on the docket tonight.
Dope. We do appreciate every single person coming in, hanging out with us this evening on the Pantheon stream. I'm sure Marcus has told you that Chill is choosing not to hang out with you guys tonight, and he's choosing to
He's
watch
showing his Shea Gildress Alexander love. I understand it. It's a
the
Canadian.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hometown. I can give a damn.
Yeah, he don't even care. I forgot this man a Warriors fan.
Yeah, I hope they win. It'd be nice for the city, but at the end of the day, should have been us. Should have been us.
Yeah, it'd be like that, man. It'd be like that. At least your favorite sport is still somewhat competitive. I mean, they have the play-in tournament and fucking mid-season tournament and all this other bullshit, but at least it's still somewhat competitive. My favorite sport is getting a hatchet taken to it. College football, I don't know what it's going to look like here over the next 5 years. I'm very scared. So,
See, I'm not the. I obviously live in a college football town, so
yeah,
just
man,
on
you live
those
in
days,
Norman, Oklahoma. My team is coming down there. We're gonna kick y'all ass. I really wish I could
probably
afford the ticket.
not. Hey, not y'all. Y'all gonna kick OU's ass.
No, that you got to represent. That is your
Oh, I
town.
definitely brother. Nah. First of all, I hate game days. They act like they shut this motherfucker down on game days. Like
I bet.
major streets and shit. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. So nah. Only connection I ever had to OU was coaching AAU basketball. I coached the Stoops boys. That's about it. That is about it.
Yep. All right, what are we starting with?
Yeah, we have some things to talk about. We'll talk. I think Marcus already told you we're going to get into the Superman box office. We'll get into Fantastic Fours, ticket sales. We're going to also get into Christopher Priest and what's going on in the comic book world of Marvel. And then we will also talk about what's going on with Dave Filoni over at Lucasfilm and how that could be turning a tide.
The Rebels are winning.
Let's go, Yoda. We can start with. Let me pull this up. Actually, we can start with Dave.
Good old Dave. Good old Mr. Filoni. Look at him fighting back in the trades. I think a lot of folks owe Jeff Snyder an apology.
Yeah,
I think they
he
owe
did
Jeff
call that
Snyder a bit
one.
of an apology.
He did call that one. Okay, what was him fighting back in the trades?
Oh, this story,
Okay,
the
okay,
the
yeah,
the fact that now it's being confirmed, or at least hinted to heavily by the Hollywood Reporter, that it's going to be him and or Carrie Beck. Um, and this is, again, this would have been simple enough to come out right directly after Kathleen Kennedy's, no, I'm not leaving, it'll be
right,
maybe this year, maybe next, and we'll formulate a plan, but it won't be anytime soon. Right. Like, I think things are legitimately changing at Lucasfilm. Star Wars Celebration, I think, was a litmus test on who was winning that internal struggle. If we would have gotten something more than Star Chaser or whatever the hell, what is that guy's name? Ryan Reynolds guy. What's his name? Levin, Levy, Sean Levy,
Levy. Hmm.
whatever his movie is called. Him and Ryan Gosling. But that's it. That's it. Nothing Ray related. Nothing Ray related at all, which was a positive sign. And so
Right,
now we let the dust settle from all of her flailing. Yeah, no, and it'll happen eventually, but no time soon. No, 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 no. Get out of here with that. It's gonna be Dave. What we heard in the beginning that made her start no, I'm not going anywhere, and start spazzing out in the first place. No, it's Dave, y'all. We're getting Dave. Getting Dave. Now,
right.
what does that make you? Let's assume that Dave Filoni is going to be the head of Lucasfilm within the next 6 to 8 months. What are we looking at here? What is his first step to kind of course correcting? What are we even in for?
Um, I think first, I forget what they said. I heard what was said about something about his movie Mando and Grogu needing to do good, but none of that may even matter. The thing
They were saying that if Mando and Grogu doesn't go good, then he might not get the. First of all, we know what Mando and Grogu is going to do, and we know why it's going to do that because of the influence that was put onto that. I didn't believe that narrative, because if we're blaming the failure or the deterioration of Mando and Grogu as characters, as a brand, there's only one person you can point that finger at, and it's not Dave Filoni. Like,
right,
not at all, not even close. So
right.
it was. Go ahead.
Oh no, I, I, I think the future. I mean, we saw it at Celebration, like you mentioned, and haven't seen or heard anything about Daisy Ridley. The last thing I think that was said about Daisy Ridley came from, what's his name, her homeboy Boyega,
Boyega.
when
Yep.
he just said he can't wait to see whatever it is her Star Wars future holds. And then again, I've mentioned this around the Revenge of the Sith conversations, when the 20th anniversary came up at Star Wars Celebration, the commercials, Monopoly, Star Wars commercials, all that kind of stuff. You would think if what we heard from Scoopers and whatever from the very beginning about, or I'm sorry, earlier or later, last in 2024, when we heard them saying that she was going to be the character moving forward, she's their Obi-Wan Kenobi, this and this and that. Well, for her to be their Obi-Wan Kenobi and to be all this that they say she is, again,
Two
since
years ago.
Celebration, they've used no one but Hayden Christensen. Hayden
Hmm.
Christensen has been in the Monopoly commercials for Star
Yes,
Wars. He has been doing
sir.
all the interviews for Star
Like,
Wars.
why wouldn't that be Daisy Ridley in all those spots? I,
Right.
I hadn't
If
even thought
she's
about that,
the
Darius. You're
Obi-Wan.
absolutely right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if she's supposed to be Obi-Wan, because I think like Marcus was saying, whatever earlier, they are they check the tone, and the tone is we want Hayden. I mean, if anything, Revenge of the Sith speaks for itself. It made more money than anything that they've done. Uh in its theatrical re-release of after 20 years. So and you're using Hayden Christensen to promote all this and to do all that, blah blah blah, and you're not using Daisy. So I don't know that Daisy has a future at Lucasfilm. Maybe in some capacity, she might show up in something, but I don't think it's going to be in the way of she's starting a whole new. If they even do anything past nine, if they even do anything past nine,
I think the first thing he has to do is set a new course forward. Like, there's too much indecisiveness on what we're where the narrative is taking us. Are we going behind Daisy Ridley and, like you said, episode 9? Are we going to, let the Filoni verse lead with Ahsoka and Mando and all of them? I think he needs to pick a person and let them guide it wherever he's trying to go narratively, right? Like, they weren't wrong on how to do it, being that of Kathleen Kennedy and her cohort with the whole, Ray rebrand, but they just picked the wrong person. Like, idea, great. Yes, let's have a whole nother trilogy with another, loved Jedi, and let's just kind of get that energy back going, that Luke energy. Only problem is you didn't pick Luke, and you didn't pick anybody else that anybody wanted to see. You tried to force Daisy, which is it's not attractive to even, I don't even think, to the normie base. I think if it was, it would have generated more buzz and it would have been easier to sell to Iger and the money people there at Disney. It doesn't seem like her way, her feel is being translated over there anymore. It doesn't really feel like her influence is kind of looming over Lucasfilm the way that it used to. You know what I'm saying? Like, this kind of stuff didn't used to come out, not from the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, you'll get some scoops on it. You'll get some people talking behind the scenes, but the Hollywood Reporter is not saying, yeah, Dave Filoni is likely going to be Kathleen Kennedy's replacement. A few months after she said, "I'm not leaving, I'm
Right.
not going anywhere,"
Yep.
so something's
Yep.
changing at Lucasfilm.
And I think as far as like where he takes all of this, again, assuming we don't do anything after 9, I think he maybe does what he's trying to do with the whole um, bringing all of them in. With the Mando, or I'm sorry, culminating in the Heir to the Empire story that he's
Yeah, yeah.
trying to adapt there. So if that is something that they do, that'd be great too. But I also think the future with him would be more animation stuff. I think he, Dave thrives, I believe, in the animation with Star Wars. So I think we'd probably see some more of that. But I think we just see a right track for Star Wars. Under Dave, and Dave I trust. Now the only problem is Carrie Beck is still there, and she is still going to be beside him as a co-head. Um,
See, if we can just push Carrie Beck into more of a Peter Safran role, or even you may not even have to, you may not even have to push her there. That may be something that she's more suited for. What is Carrie Beck credited for creatively? What are we longing for in Carrie Beck as a creator at Lucasfilm? That's obviously where Dave is going to lead. So I'm not so concerned about one of Kathleen's holdovers having some sort of title at Lucasfilm. That doesn't that was probably going to happen in some capacity, because you can't root out every single person that supports Kathleen Kennedy within Disney. I think you would have started doing that a long time ago. But to say that Dave is going to be in the position to try to drive the creative narrative, I think is a huge improvement, a seismic improvement from what we've been getting, where he's kind of in the Beck space, where he's in the background, but they'll let him play with his toys and his
right.
lore stuff over there. But when it comes to the larger scope theatrical stuff, yeah, no, we're gonna handle that. That is swapped. That is absolutely swapped, because who's ousting Kathleen Kennedy just to hand the keys over to Carrie Beck and only Carrie Beck? The reason why they're leading with Filoni is to give confidence to investors, to give confidence to the core fandom that a Star Wars person is running Star Wars. And that is more than we can say about their messaging in the last, I don't know how long.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Completely agree. This is what fans have been wanting anyway, for Dave. I mean, the dream would have been Dave and John, but I'll take Dave and let him cook. Let him. He knows what he's doing. He knows these stories. He knows these characters. Um, I'm very eager to see what is going to be done with Ahsoka season 2, but more so, the thing I'm most interested in, that they've got coming up is the Maul series. Just listening, Sam Witwer was just on a podcast that who's Bo-Katan? Why am I blanking on the actress's name? Saxoff, Katie Saxoff. He was just on a
Yeah, that's all.
podcast with her, and they were
Yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah, yeah,
about,
yeah.
yeah,
So that was so. Yeah, I remember. Go ahead. You set it up, but I know the interview you're talking about.
yeah, they were just talking about where Maul he got. I don't know what the overall conversation was, but I know one of the clipped things that went around was his conversation, what he was saying about Maul, um, just the future that they have for Maul, and how he had said that Maul's didn't fully know what Palpatine had in store for Order 66. And then, after seeing the Empire, this is not what he thought, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. It was just a very good interview. And I think that
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah.
show's going to be great.
It was about how Maul he's not a good guy, but he's not as bad as Sidious.
Right.
And so he starts questioning stuff. Yeah, yeah. Very good
Right.
interview.
And
I see. No, go ahead.
well,
Go ahead.
somebody commented on that and on Twitter and was like saying, "Well, they do this all the time. Typical good guy. Typical, they'll take the bad guy and never keep him bad. Let him just be bad." Understand this: Maul is still very much Maul. This is where we're picking up with Maul is after season 7 of the Clone Wars, where he, jetted off after Ahsoka freed him. We don't pick back up, but we don't see Maul again timeline wise until Rebels. And he's already had this entire adventure that we're about to go on with him. So when we pick back up with him in Rebels, he is still very much Maul. He is still very much evil. He still very much has his own agenda. It is just not the agenda of the Empire.
I wanted to address some of the Filoni pushback in here. Filoni isn't great at writing live action, and he doesn't have a lot of film experience. Let me tell you guys something. First of all, maybe the Kathleen Kennedys and the James Gunns of the world have gotten everyone confused on what this role is supposed to be, like what it's supposed to look like. He's not supposed to be out writing everything. He's not supposed to be pinning every project or trying to overextend himself creatively to every single project. He is there to guide the creative narrative. He is there to oversee where they're going, right? So unlike some, hovering parents like that of Kathleen Kennedy, I don't expect him to be overbearing in that way. Now, absolutely, John Favreau would be a better option to me. That doesn't seem to be an option. He doesn't seem to want to do it.
Right.
Doesn't
Yeah,
seem to
no,
want to do it.
John definitely does not want to.
At least that's everything that's been reported. It doesn't seem like he's up for the task.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Rundown Productions. Appreciate that. I think we got a super. You want to cue something up, Darius?
We do have a super.
You hate of being so tired. I make my money, man, without the coca. Living la vida without the loca.
And that came from I Am Flycan that says, as a Star Wars nerd, I don't like Filoni having so much influence. He's far too reliant on nostalgia and member berries. Ahsoka was painfully bad at times.
I disagree. I actually liked Ahsoka. But see, here's part of the issue as well. The fan base taste wise. Did you see Chill's comment in the chat? The
Yes.
The what's it
Hello.
call it? What up?
Doing good.
Where was I at? Oh, the fan base is very divided, right? Like people's tastes are kind of all over the place. Some people liked some parts of the last season of Mando. I think most people hated it. But then Andor
Hated it.
is going crazy. It's going crazy to the Andor fans. I myself can't stand that show is still going on. I don't even understand. We watched them die already. How much story could we tell in between her getting pregnant and them dying? But anywho, that's kind of where we're at, right? Like the tastes are all over the place. I think if you pick a person who at least has that tie to the nostalgia, like you were saying, like he's very tied to the lore and preserving it. Maybe if he takes his hands off the projects creatively on an individual basis and just gets back to guiding people where we need to be and letting the Bryce Dallas Howards, the other writers there to kind of do their thing, maybe that's a better position for him. We know who can't do that. We know he can't do that right now.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it. I don't think he would be a James Gunn type, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think he would be so influenced or so heavy into the actual writing or the production. I would hope not.
If I could give my take on it, I'd say this is testing the waters. Hollywood Reporter's going to report on it. Let's see what people react the way. Like, what is the feedback? Because if they go, well, Dave Filoni did something in 2008, and for that reason, are there any scandals? Or let's test the waters. Is the fan reception happy about it, bad about it? They're going to go check what the Geeks and Gamers crowd are doing also. Like, did we manage to avoid tragedy with announcing who's the new guy? And when I say new guy, it's not like Carrie Beck isn't also reported equally in these reports too, right? Carrie Beck and Dave Filoni.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's really just testing the waters, and I think from what I've seen, it's universally okay. That's a big word, not universally. Majority, it's been accepting of this Dave Filoni thing, and the Carrie Beck thing. Guys, you know who I am. You guys know how I am when it comes to the female, male, the gender war stuff. But I think Kathleen Kennedy was putting Carrie Beck in the position solely for the reason that she is a female. I don't think Kathleen Kennedy was thinking story-wise. I think Dave does, and I even think Carrie might also. I don't know her. I don't know her to I haven't seen anything from her that would indicate otherwise. That she's just, is there a woman in the movie? Okay, fine. But I feel like Kathleen Kennedy is that bull in the china shop, where she's not worried about what stories is gonna. She wants to do a movie with Ray because Ray has the 2X chromosome. She wants. That's what I think of Kathleen Kennedy, and rightfully so. I didn't get here overnight. Right. So Dave Filoni's gonna make the plans, and he's gonna put something in Ahsoka, which we'll find out more about 10 years from now. Which will, like that's the Dave Filoni method. And Kathy is there a woman in it? Now, if Carrie Beck happens to be a woman, and in the center of this Venn diagram is also story driven, then great. Let's have her also be the co-chair. Yeah, man, I'm all for it. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I think somebody mentioned in the chat earlier that Carrie Beck was involved in Rebels, right? So I don't want to take her completely out. I just think that if we're splitting duties, one person's going to watch the money, the other person's going to watch the creative. That just seems to be the way. If you're going to have two studio heads, that's how it works. That's how it's working at Warner Brothers with DeLuca and Abby. That's how it's working at DC with Safran and Gunn. I think Kevin right now is the last of a dying breed, kind of running both sides all by his solo dolo. But we also see how that's going. You know what I'm saying? We also see how that's going for him. So I think the way future is going to be cohorts instead of sole possession of the vehicle, the narrative, because there's too much riding on it. There's way too much riding on it for one bad mistake or one bad perspective to drive the entire studio in the ground. And that's kind of where we're at. Maybe not so much with Lucasfilm, but some of these other studios just don't have the level of jeopardy a Marvel or a Lucasfilm does because the product lines are just so plentiful over there.
Yeah, I agree. Well, whenever she does leave, hopefully when he does take over, it is a bright future for Star Wars because they need it. But I am looking forward to, like I said, the Maul series. That is the only thing right now. The Starfighter, Star really whatever. I'll check it out, of course.
Really good. The rumors of Anakin reprising his role, or Hayden Christensen reprising his role. The rumors of Mace Windu kind of sniffing around maybe a return. Like that is the kind of stuff that like it will re-energize a fan base. Yes, it's nostalgia. Yes, it's lip service. Yes, not all that creative, but I do think that they could do. They're not in the place that, well, they kind of are. They kind of are in the same place as Marvel. Like they need that spectacle. We need to have another. Holy shit! Luke Skywalker just came onto this bridge or to this ship, wrecked shit, and ran off with Grogu. Like you need something like that again from Lucasfilm.
Yeah. That is anything else from Jill, you, Star Wars, Dave?
Good on Dave.
We got to get to the White Panther. We got to do it to Chester.
Why Why? It's crazy.
Yeah,
This
you
man said he
came here.
wasn't going to buy the book, wasn't going to talk about it, and he got he got Katima as his icon.
Can I say though, the white factor isn't bothering me the way that everyone in the world seems to be bothered by. It's that T'Challa is dead. I don't care who has the mantle. It's another one of those, we're conditioning the audience into preparing for the death of T'Challa to something called Black Panther without T'Challa. And like just the white thing is like, so what? I know, I understand. The way melanin works, the further you are from the equator, the lighter your skin is. Why would a Wakandan be that? Like, how could he biologically be linked to T'Challa? I understand that's a thing. Yes, sure. But like T'Challa's dead, and that's way more important to me. And I did not pull this comic book. No, I did not.
Man. So yeah, it is another just kind of add on to where Black Panther dies. I do want to acknowledge the empirical of it all. It is an Elseworld story, right? It's not canon to 616. It is entitled The Future to Come. But I again, yeah, you're right. Let's not focus on the obvious of it all, right? That there's a white guy who just won the throne in Wakanda and he beat T'Challa to do it. Let's put that to aside for a second. I want to talk about Christopher Priest. Now,
Yeah.
for years, I have been hyped. I have studied at the altar of Priest, right? When I got into my dog, right? When I got into my dog, the consensus around who to study, who to read first, whose stories you should look at for a true Black Panther story, I got consistently Christopher Priest. Black community, outside of the Black community. Christopher Priest was probably one of the first Black writers that I started hearing a lot from other white guys at the comic shop that they knew. You know, they're not super plugged in. They knew Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote Black Panther a couple times, but they're not on the Eve Hewans, the Brian Edward Hills, like they're not that deep, right? So when I'm hearing them big up Christopher Priest, I'm like, okay, so this is worth it. Like, this is definitely warranted. And so I am guilty myself of never really viewing this man's work in the proper context. I've never viewed his work in the proper context, and it took this offshoot, right? This standalone comic, or this standalone run.
Yeah. What do you mean we gotta experience it through Everett Ross from the white point of view, Christopher?
Fam, I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm like, okay, so he did have Casper Cole take over the mantle, right? And he was, biracial Black Panther in Harlem. And then he wrote the Hunter, the White Wolf thing, right? White Wolf and T'Challa, their rivalry, whatever. And so I'm like, well, I had always, I kind of found it as innocuous. I didn't think that was a thing. And so now I'm hearing this man giving quotes from years ago being asked, well, why don't you write Black characters more? And to my surprise, hear this man go, well, why do I have to write Black characters? Why can't I write these type of characters? Why do I have to be a Black writer? Why can't I just be, because you're Black? Because you're Black.
I kind of agree with him though.
No, I will let you rebut, but because you're Black, and because you're in these rooms at Marvel, and you're one of the only ones there, if you're not going to advocate, who's going to advocate? I have always had an issue with people who shy away from the responsibility of being in those spaces, because isn't that the argument? Let's get inside these systems and tear them down from within. Well, if you're going to get in there and say, hey, me no Black, Poppy, me no Black, I'm a regular writer, then you're no good to me. You're no good to me. You're no good to me. You're not good to the next Black writer behind you. You're not good to the Black fan base that is starving for these stories. You're no good to any of us. Now I'm viewing this through the lens of, oh, he really wanted a white guy in Wakanda. Like he was really trying to. He dipped his toe in it with Casper Cole. Like, okay, biracial, y'all cool. Then we got White Wolf in there. We like, all right, hold on. This is a whole white individual. He crashed the plane. Family died. We adopted him. You know what I'm saying? He's a brother. He's a brother with T'Challa. Y'all okay with that? He was testing the waters to eventually get here. I'm gonna put a white man on the throne. Surprise! All you pre-sycophants, kick rocks. Ta-Nehisi Coates is the best modern Black Panther writer, hands down.
Ta-Nehisi Coates put a democracy in Wakanda.
Say what?
He put a democracy in Wakanda.
He did put up a democracy in Wakanda, and then he put T'Challa on a bigger throne. He did the whole democracy thing, and I know that led to worse shit from other writers who shall go unnamed. But at the same time that he gave Wakanda democracy, he gave T'Challa, that individual, an even larger title that hasn't even been uttered since.
Okay, I just don't want to belittle not Coates, but Priest's accomplishments to tell me Coates is good. Coates has some great moments. Coates has some bad moments, like making Wakandans slavers. I'm sorry, did they just colonize a galaxy? They'll make that 2. Make that 3. I believe it's 5 galaxies that they've called like that. There's issues with what Ta-Nehisi Coates did.
I didn't say he was perfect. Oh, I didn't say he was perfect.
Good. Okay, good.
I said he wasn't a psyop. He wasn't a Fed. He wasn't trying to backdoor a white man on the throne of Wakanda. This is a story he's been sitting on for years, y'all. He's been sitting on this story for. Why would Marvel pull this out now?
Because T'Challa needs to be dead. We've got a willing participant. We've got a name with someone we can hide behind. The black guy did it. What's up, Darius?
And he don't even want to be seen that way. That's the most ironic part about it. They're hiding behind. This is Christopher Priest. This is one of the most notable black writers at Marvel, and he doesn't even want to wear that moniker.
He's like co-written by Joe Quesada.
Yeah, like literally. Like, what is going on? What is it? I don't want to hear no more of that Priest stuff. Keep it. Because now I can see what was happening the entire time, and the man was doing mind jujitsu. He was like, "Yeah, I'm pulling y'all in. I'm pulling y'all in. Oh, I'm gonna give y'all some good stories too. I'm gonna give you. No, Doom was Reginald Hudlin. Was it Namor?
Hudlin.
Was Priest Namor?
No, Hudlin had the Namor thing.
Oh my God! So he did Hudlin and Doom, because the Doom story is Hudlin too. Jesus Christ! What did we even like Christopher Priest for?
62 issues.
Give a shit about that. I wonder why they kept letting them write it. It's all making sense now. It's all making sense. Long as you implant one of us in there, you can keep your job. That's what it sounded like. Darius, care to comment?
Well, I think I haven't said anything about this online or anything. I've seen it. As you know, I'm not a reader of Marvel comics any longer. Haven't been in a while. My thoughts on this, the white Black Panther thing.
It's aggressive. It is so aggressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But what I got from this also, just looking at everything too, is what Chill came in on, and that is the obviously the death of T'Challa once again. And this is where I have said time and time again, and I'm tying this back into the overall MCU, where they are conditioning you to let you know he is. I don't have any proof of this. My idea is just I think he's dead in every universe. That includes the comics. That includes, because it's all connected. They want all this to be one big thing. I think this is just them once again solidifying, and then also spitting in the face of Black Panther fans. Not only is he dead in every universe, but hey, here's a white guy that's playing him too, or a white guy that's now taking the mantle in the comics. I'm sorry. So yeah, I think this all ties together with all of that shit, and I think that this is just more clues, more breadcrumbs, more, hey, wake up. We are not, this is what we're doing. Letitia Wright came out saying what she said, talking about, I can't talk about it, and Prepare yourselves.
It's so smooth, right? they just smooth dosey-doed her out of the spot that they was bigging up and calling everybody a misogynist for not wanting her in. And she didn't last but one movie. Now she out here teasing her replacement. I don't know. Wink, wink, wink. He might be. Definitely. Yes, I'm leaving. It's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It was your mantle.
He also took a crap on Hudlin when he made in the comic book, yo, Monica Lynn, you're my chosen one. That Storm stuff was a mistake. I don't know what they were going for, but I feel like it's all Ibrahim Traore's fault. He, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, they're doing way too much advancement right now. That they all wanted to just you know what, you don't get to have it in the comics also. So there you go. Something's gonna happen to Vibranium next.
It is so aggressively wrong. Like, okay, so who even is the child's mother? It can't be Monica Lynn. It literally cannot be. Like, are you telling me that they produced a blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby? What?
Well, there was just one image of him with his face, like it was this one right here, right?
Sure.
So I don't know. It could be the lighting. It could be something that he's not actually.
It's aggressively pale, and the blonde hair is really signifying that he's an Anglo, that he's an Aryan. You know.
Okay, I thought there was a white woman that was pregnant. What was I reading earlier on this? It said something.
There was some white woman. He was Nikki or something like that. I think he was with.
So the child may not even biologically be T'Challa's, from what they're saying.
Probably.
It
and
could
he's
be
on the throne.
A kid that he just raised.
They hit him with the lip.
No lip.
But then they said that he raised him in private because it wouldn't look good.
Because he was because an African king raising a Caucasian child in Wakanda would be disgraceful. You're damn right. You're damn right. So why are we writing it?
Because Toussaint is being raised privately in Haiti. That's why. All of this is massaging the ideas.
I get it now. So we were already lowering standards, right? They already built up T'Challa to be this ultra virtuous character, posthumously, only after, unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman passed. But they built him up. But then there's a very obvious conflict of abandonment and deadbeatness of him sending his child to be raised without him in a whole nother country when he's part of the most powerful country in the world. So we're just going to cut that bottom out and send the floor down to hell and say, no, he was messing around and had a white baby. And now that white baby is on the throne.
Yeah, the white baby isn't the threatening part to me. The removal of T'Challa is the groundwork and blueprint for a Nate Moore interview where he's going to say, well, it happened in publishing. Because that's what he uses the word publishing. He never talks about 616 canon, whether it happened in publishing or not. It is what matters to him. So, like, someone said this. I think it was Buckmeister Cool, if I'm not crediting him rightly. But he said that the Silver Surfer named Shalabala, she is also from, like, a future story from a non-canon, not 616. Like but they're using that also in the movies.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that first of all, the Cat Williams Atlanta scene is just playing in my head over and over again. Whose white baby is that? But also I agree with you. It is the solidification of T'Challa's dead. This is another way he dies, because they didn't even have that before. Like, they literally didn't have a single one where T'Challa was actually dead. So now they do have some.
And you notice that was the argument like back in the day, like I'm talking like, when some of us, I think we've all three calmed down on how we used to kind of, and maybe Marcus, I don't know how you used to, but how we used to kind of go at some of the anti-recasters
I don't even talk to. I don't talk to.
Yeah, bots. I don't
arguing with bots on fake apps.
I don't argue with them anymore either. But in those early days,
makes a lot of sense these days.
No, hell to the no. Fuck that coon. But back in those early days, that was the argument. Well, he's never died, and show me a comic where where T'Challa has died.
And that's where the argument would stop. That's where you would get blocked. That's when they block you.
Yep. But see, now, as a casual, because most of them would go and try to Google stuff anywhere or use their limited MCU knowledge, they have that to pull. Well, he died here. He died here in the comics and things like that. blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. So yeah, it's all the, like Chill came in and said, it's the conditioning and the massaging of, hey, prepare yourselves.
I get why the white thing is secondary, right? To actually killing T'Challa. For me, that part is the affront to us personally. Like the killing of T'Challa is kind of a middle finger to the fan base, right? Like nobody, we keep telling you we don't want this, and you keep serving it up anyways. But the specific nature and the way that they replaced him is flagrant. It's flagrant. So you told him no when he wrote this shit back in what 07, 08, whenever he pitched this to you, and you brought it out now in 2025. You thought it would be a better time now to have a white Black Panther in 2025, as opposed to when Black Panther was actually respected in publication, when we were coming off, like y'all said, a 62 issue run from Christopher Priest. You don't think that would have been a better time to try to slide this shit on in? He was already psyoping white characters into the Black Panther narrative anyways, because I don't want to be a black writer, apparently. I don't know, man. It's kind of two separate things. On one side, you do got the kind of lockstep in the narrative on T'Challa at Marvel right now, and then there is, if I were to, let me say something controversial. Where can I implant my black self where I don't belong? What if we had, what if we had a comic where we made Kitty Pryde black? What if we did that? What if we? Matter of fact, we got the Black X-Men from when they were still doing the Krakoa stuff. Yeah. Bishop and what's his name? They went time traveling Tempo, and they found some Black X-Men. I'm sure it was a Black Kitty Pryde up in there, and she's still Jewish. We good with that? Everybody cool? Or are we going back to, this is woke? This is woke. This is woke. Where are the woke? Where the woke bandits at? Where the woke warriors? Where's Nerd Roddick? Where is the critical drinker? I don't know if he does comics. But where's my wokey wokes? Where y'all at? Y'all should be all over this. A White Panther? That's the ultimate race swap. There is no more definitive race swap than putting a white man on the throne of Wakanda.
Yeah, when I saw the headline, I was driving. I was like, I laughed, honestly. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. Like Buck said on Twitter, it is tough being a Black Panther fan.
I like this energy, Lawrence. I like this energy. Yes. Make Miles have Peter adopt Miles, and then Miles murders him and takes his spot. Let's do that. I love it. Ritual combat all around, baby. Blue, what you telling me right now? You telling me Kitty Pryde was out here slinging in bombs in canon? Like it's Marvel canon? Jesus Christ. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know where they at, bro. Profess. I don't know where they are. I don't know where these individuals who are up your butt about Moses Ingram being in a Star Wars project. Where are you when the Anglos invade Wakanda? When the Europeans get on the throne?
Blue says yes, Marvel canon.
That's terrible. Kitty said the N-word like 3 different times. Are y'all kidding me?
What the fuck?
Like this had to have been some like old 1950s, 1960s shit. Like not in modern day comics. There's no way y'all gonna pull up a book of me
in the 1960s. What the fuck was Kitty doing saying dropping ends?
We talking like after like 70, after 1970. Yeah, maybe that was probably acceptable back then. Give me like post 80s Marvel comics y'all talking about? That's crazy.
Yeah.
When was it?
Wait, Chill, when she was dropping?
She debuted what? She debuted after 75. Yes, she did it, and I remember it was like a learning lesson type of comic book. Hey, you can't say that word, like she said it. Yeah.
What? So Kitty Pryde was just in a learning lesson. Learning lesson. Don't say the N-word.
And they put it in the book. This is insanity. This is insanity.
I've
So I
seen
can
it in
just pop
Storm
out.
also. Storm's mother and father were like, "We can leave
She called
America."
Storm's parents
No,
ins.
there's a
Oh,
separate
I was
there's a
about to
separate
say,
incident.
but like maybe she got mad and said, "Storm, you're nothing but
You
a
are
bunch of."
Remember, she was introduced when she was 13 or 14. So when she did this, I'm not. I think there's a lesson to be learned. I'm not that sensitive to it.
Well,
What is the
I
lesson?
understand why. Yeah, I understand why. But even
Yeah.
still, putting that in a comic book as a teachable moment is insane. Could you imagine just flip it for just a second? So Aurora calls Kitty Pryde something that starts with a K and rhymes with Pike. Then that's a teachable moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the teachable moment is.
Right. If I opened up the comic book, which it happened in, I could
I'm
probably
looking at it.
convince you. You look at the page, yeah.
No, I'm looking at an article of it with several panels.
This is insane. This is insane. RUAN with the hard ER. You're
Wait,
breaking my heart.
wait.
Would you say she was being ignorant? Would you?
All right, no.
I am saying that there is no person in the history of the world that thought that they could walk up to a black person and say, "Are you a?" I'm saying that is the ultimate cop out.
You know, that kind of reminds me of, even though they didn't say that word in that movie because it was a Disney Channel movie. What was that movie? The Color of Friendship.
yeah. Yep. It's like and just taking it even further than that, the fact that a human being, an adult person, wrote that to be a movable moment for people to read. Not, hey, why do people call you that? No. I heard you was a nick. Are you a nick? My God. Yes, you did, Blue. Absolutely. You 100% opened up a can of worms. Yeah, so I guess they've been doing this even dirtier than this. This is just par for the course. Yeah, man. This is a for an else universe story. Even still, like, why would you do this? You could have done anything. You could have done anything. Shout out to Reginald Hudlin, man, who his pocketed story that Marvel would never run involved children, involved a family of super children for Storm and T'Challa. So, man,
right.
I tell y'all what, I would not listen to another Ta-Nehisi Coates detractor. Not a perfect writer, not a perfect run, but oh my God, never again, never again. Shout out to Eve Hewin too. Eve. I appreciate anybody who even attempted to elevate T'Challa, even if it didn't end the way that I wanted it to, even if I didn't get anything out of the run that put him in a different place. If you pushed him up in any way, shape, or form, I appreciate you. Brian Edward Hill's the same way.
Well, when is and that this is currently on shelves, isn't it?
Yep. Came
And
out
there's a
Wednesday.
second printing coming, and the second printing has him on the cover of it because now they can spoil it.
Good God.
Unmasked. Where's the cover?
Unmasked. His skin and all.
That's not this picture.
No, the one on screen right now. No, this is from the last page. Yeah. The second printing has him, like, differently.
I'm with you, Culture Mate. I'm with you. I would rather be the conquerors, even if that's an uncomfortable conversation. But I mean, I thought well, let me not say that. Just in general, the idea of a country that strong with a resource that rare being that altruistic, and then at the same time being xenophobic. It's like we can't have it so many different ways. Like, they're very stringent about protecting their own land and keeping outsiders out, but they would never go and conquer other people's land. Well, I mean, that's the exact type of isolationist country that would do that type of thing. So it wasn't completely out of the realm of possibility for Wakanda to start branching out and taking shit and, not names. But if that's the worst, if that's the worst you got, I'll take that. I will take that over ass whooping by Captain America, banished from the country, Caucasian son whoops my ass and takes the throne. I'll take that over biracial Jewish Harlem cop. I will take that. I will take that over CIA agent white brother standing next to T'Challa. I'll take it over all of that shit. Y'all can have it.
That is right. There was that the one where Captain America told him go back, basically
go back to Africa. He told
back
me
to
to go back to Africa.
Yeah, told that man go back to Africa after
And
he
then
beat his
showed up
ass.
to Africa and whooped his ass.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what
that's
it
what
is.
I'd rather be talking about, and stacking up all of those examples that you're mentioning. The white thing is so over glossing the important stuff we're talking about, which is that in these
It
comic
is
books
in
now.
itself a problem though. Like it's not to be glossed over. I understand it in the ranking of the issues, it probably comes in second, but it's not to be glossed over. It's an affront. It absolutely is, and we would see that affront if it happened to any other community. It would be so clear that it is an affront to that community. If anybody else, if it happened to anyone else, we have just been so accustomed to us getting the last of every damn thing that it just feels normal when it happens now. Like this is not the example I gave was pretty fine enough. That book would have been forced off of shelves by several organizations before it even arrived, probably.
And,
Probably wouldn't even have made it to print. They would have never printed a story like that. But again, the community that you are offending matters in how far you are allowed to press the narrative. So the fact that yes, it is a white character on the throne of a black isolationist country is an affront. It is a straight up middle finger.
And I'll make the argument too. It's a matter of perspective too, because that's that to whom is the number one problem that T'Challa's dead, because the world, Twitter at least, the internet ain't talking about T'Challa being dead. The internet is talking about this white character.
It's obviously the most controversial, yeah, but it's not the most impactful. It's just not.
No.
Because it has an image next to it. But at least this will be in people's memories.
It's going to go away. This is not a real universe. Like we have to.
Okay, but at least people are going to have this in their memories, and then we could use it. And I say we, meaning like anyone who wants T'Challa recast, we can just add this to the list of infractions. And of course, yes, like the other thing where Captain America was beating up on him during so and so's run. We have so many examples now of the way that the characters been treated with garbage, and it's like, yeah, keep going, guys, keep on going, because the more time passes, and the more infractions that there are, just the worse you're gonna look, and the more a recast of T'Challa is becoming more and more popular with each and every day and every year, bro. What are they gonna do next year? Hey, wait for Eyes of Wakanda. I'm sure something stupid's gonna happen in that comic, in that TV show. They might have to age up to child.
The IP itself may experience a microcosm of what's going on with the studio as well. Like the lead up to an eventual Black Panther 3 will be so affected by its the last iterations that led up to it. So Wakanda Forever, Eyes of Wakanda, the comic book runs that happen in between, whenever Wakandan characters, if they ever show up anywhere else other than Wakanda. Shout out to Malcolm Spellman for writing them in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But those things will matter to Black Panther 3. Those things will matter. Like that's representing the IP. It is adding on to the brand recognition and what people come to expect when you flash a Black Panther single onto your project. So if that shit doesn't go well, which I mean, it's not really an if, comics continue going the way that they are, I don't see the logic in force feeding people a narrative that has been proven now on multiple platforms to not be a success. You canceled a video game where you were trying to do this. You now have this.
Yeah, that was just last week. I forgot about that.
That was just last week, and this is going to go the way it's going to go. I think the controversy will have people pulling issue 2. I think it'll fall off the.
Unfortunately.
It's gonna
But
fall off the face of the earth after that.
I think the FOC for issue 2 is already completed, so I'm not worried about sales increasing with that. For 3 and 4 is what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
worried
think
that
3 and
this
4.
sells more than
Once people
Imperial War.
realize that that's the Hunter's kid, then people won't be interested.
I'm worried that this sells more than the Imperial War Black Panther, with Jonathan Hickman is co-writing. His name is on there as a writer. I think he's not really co-writing it; they just put his name on it. But I feel like that comic book deserves it's 616. It's tying into the major event. I think it deserves the sales that this guy is going to get, especially with the second printing. Might get what, an additional 10,000 units. This is unfair, and it's cheap that they're going to market T'Challa's downfall and use tricks like the White Panther and all the controversy stuff. Is
Good
terrible.
Lord. I'll tell you what, we all storm in Burbank if Ryan Gosling ever make his way into a Black Panther suit. I swear to God. I swear to God.
I had people that I know personally that know obviously that we talk about recasts, or I talk about recasts on the channel and things like that, sending me people that have never sent me pictures of anything like that before, sending me pictures of Ryan Gosling in the the meme, the it's getting around. It's getting around. Now I personally think that is ever going to happen live action. They'd be insane.
I just
They'd be insane.
There are plenty of things I think that they would be crazy to do. But then again, look where we at, Darius. Look where we at. I mean, they wrote a comic about it. So it is not beyond the pale. The damn Avengers couldn't come to T'Challa's funeral, but they gonna put a white man on the throne.
That's true. The Avengers were not at that man's funeral.
Yeah, no, I don't think it ever happens theatrically, but just the fact that it's even part of Black Panther lore now is upsetting. That's upsetting enough for me.
Right. I obviously I am not watching Eyes of Wakanda, but I will be curious to know exactly, because this is supposed to affect the overall MCU, 616 and
Sure it will.
whatever
Yeah,
it is.
I'm positive it'll definitely.
So I'm interested to see how that affects BP, not so much the MCU, but how that affects Black Panther moving forward. So
The movie, like the films, I don't think it affects it at all. I don't think I could say a lot of things about Ryan Coogler. What he's not going to do is put the Knight Riders on the throne of Wakanda. I think that would be his exit. That and forcing him to recast T'Challa will be when he leaves. So yeah, I don't think that low of him that I would think that he would do that. So no, I don't think it makes it to theatrical. Now, I think in their minds they're continuing to condition the audience to accept someone else as Black Panther. I don't. It's not going to happen. Now that one of your iterations fail and you're moving on to the next, you are signaling to the audience that this is of lower value. Now they're just not going to show up. See, it was one thing when they had a character that looked like them, and then all of a sudden he's standing next to Captain America. He's standing next to Thor. He's standing next to Iron Man as an equal. It's a whole nother thing when you got the Bebe kids all taking their turn. When we playing Ring Around the Rosie with the Black Panther mantle, it's of lesser value. It is not something to be held down and make your legacy based off. No. Hot potato. Shuri's turn, Toussaint's turn, Zuri's turn, Ryan Gosling. Nah. And if they think that the return of, around what it was 850 million is something that's repeatable, I would continue to focus people in on what the numbers have been for this genre lately. It is not a plentiful market. Films that were hitting 6, 7, 800 million just off of nostalgia and name recognition before are not doing that right now. The things that are getting big draws are cultural phenomenons like Minecraft. You got Lilo and Stitch, which is a brand that hasn't been sullied yet at Disney. Right? Those are the things that are hitting centers, right? An original project. But what's not hitting is the MCU's drip, drip, drip form of giving you content. That's not getting it right now. And you doing this thing of, oh, well, it was Shuri and that was Toussaint. You are just driving the nail home that you don't really need to pay attention to what's going on over here. Even if you're not coming out and saying that, that's how people are going to receive it. That's how the audience is going to receive it. When you don't treat them like the characters that you hold most dear, then that is a signal that they don't mean as much. And how they've just like, again, mind you, just the cast and crew into thinking that they are better off as a production having everyone get a shot at playing the Panther, as opposed to what they could be if they let somebody, just one person, take the mantle. Listen, look at how Gwyneth Paltrow and Jon Favreau are revered in Iron Man, in that franchise. They are integral parts of that franchise. Hell, they were in a lot of damn movies off the back of what they put in Iron Man. But there was never no Pepper Potts in the damn suit. Happy Hogan never hopped his ass into Mach 13. Didn't happen. Never. Didn't have to either. Because they know who Iron Man is. They know who Iron Man is. And by him being more popular, it made everyone else around him and underneath him more popular. Okoye, you could be showing up in all these other different projects, and you could be a sizable part of this, but then they tried to, halfway make you a candidate for the Black Panther throne last movie and wasted a bunch of time because all that shit got cut. Nakia, you could have a very compelling story that can take you all over the Marvel universe as a villain. Instead, they made you T'Challa's love interest and now his baby mama in Haiti. Like, there are pieces from that universe similar to what they look like in other people's setups, right? Their dynamics that could be used the same way. Look at how Spider-Man's using Aunt May. Right? Now, I wasn't in love with the fact that they killed Aunt May, but I felt like if you are a queen in the throne room of the most technologically advanced country in the world, drowning should be the last thing that's even possible. I mean, there's no water evacuation system. We don't have anybody sitting there with the queen to save her, pull her ass out, or take her somewhere else where she's not in danger. Nobody's stopping the queen from jumping in to save this random girl from come on, man. What are we doing? Random girl from Chicago, and she died. Say, like, come on, man. We got to do better than this. Got to do better than that. I don't think you asked me about the future of Black Panther. I think that something's got to come to a head, man. Something's got to give. We're not at a spot where this is just going to stand. Like, everybody's going to get what they want. We might not get everything we want, but damn it, they want some money. It don't seem like they're going to get everything they want either.
Yeah, it seems like it was more understood when Chadwick was alive that if, in order for these characters to prosper, obviously the main character and things like that, and then we'll build off of all these, we had all the rumored shows and this and this and that, and people were so in love with the other characters. I mean, it's just like, I use this example every time we talk about the other characters and things like that, but it's like Chadwick said in that interview, I am the Black Panther. It's about me. It's about T'Challa. But it felt like that was more understood during that time. There was a tweet I retweeted today that said Chadwick's death is easily the worst thing to happen to Black Panther. They've been playing in that character's face ever since then.
Easily.
In the
and it's so disgraceful, man, for them to use him as the reason in everything that they have done. Everything they have done with this character is antithetical to what that man wanted. It's so antithetical to what that man wanted. We have heard countless relatives talk about it. We've even heard his own words in a roundabout way, because he never got asked directly about his illness and what he would want and if things didn't go his way. but we've heard his widow talk about it. We've heard his late wife talk about it. We've heard his brothers, both brothers, Kevin and Derek, have both spoken on it. His niece. Like, there is nothing that they did to that character in his passing that he would have agreed with. And I feel completely comfortable saying that. Completely comfortable saying that. The man's a complete stranger to me. And I am fully confident in knowing that everything that they've done since his passing, I don't think he would agree with. Maybe he could find a way to make it make sense because of their grief around his passing, but I don't think he would take it this way. I mean, they've said it. They so much have said it. No, they don't want to. They wouldn't have did that. Chad was too selfless. So how are you looking failure right in the face? Because that's what we're doing. Right? And we're looking failure in the face and saying, no, I'm going to stay the course because. Okay, well.
Yeah, it was never about Chad. That was just the headline to run with to make it look good, but it was never about checks. None of this, like we've said before. I've used the example of why not just use the script he originally wanted. That was a man's last piece of work. You could have said this is a dedication to him, to his last piece of work. This his notes are on this. This is what he wanted. Blah blah blah. But instead, they threw that away. And
instead, it's honorable to tell us what he wanted and then do something completely different. What idiocracy am I living in right now? In what world do you come out and tell us this is what it was? He loved it. He was training for it. I'm not doing it. Like that's brownie points for you. That's brownie points for you, man. Chad, we really like this, summer with the dad or whatever the pilot
summer vacation.
Summer vacation. Really love this idea. Him coming back from the blip and spending time with his son and going on a ritual, and then such and such. This happens and that. Your movie was nothing like that. It wasn't even close. There was nothing happy about your movie. Not even close. So I'm trying to figure out how we ended up in Depressionville from where you started and what you told me he wanted. Is it not necessary to honor the man's words, to honor the person he was publicly, the things that he went out of his way to tell us as a viewing audience? Is it not necessary to honor him in that way? Or the wishes of his family, or excuse me, not the wishes, but the opinions of his family, should they not have any weight? Should the opinions of his wife not matter to the people at oh no, we just lie about it. We just lie about it. We'd be like, oh yeah, we asked her, we ran her through it, and we got her blessing. No, you didn't. She said she was thankful that she didn't have to make that decision, which means she didn't talk to you about shit.
That's true. That is true. But these, we know all this. We've gone over so many different things with a recast, and it's more of a waiting game. Especially for whatever happens in 3. But so that is what's going on right now with Black Panther. As far as the comics goes, and I think, and Chill thinks, and I believe Marcus as well, thinks that this all also stems and has some type of correlation tie into the narrative and that they're trying to sell that T'Challa is actually dead and move on. So we're not obviously doing any of that and then we're not going to move on from it. We're going to continue to blast the hashtag. Chill and I think it's a Fatal J together have the
July 1.
July 1st have the pushing the hashtag day, recast T'Challa day, so you can do that. So it doesn't stop, but this is it's getting more and more real the closer and closer I think it gets to some of these films. So
sure.
And things. The next thing though that we have is the Fantastic Four, and this one kind of shocked the shit out of me because I had been saying I didn't think that this was gonna. I just didn't think it was gonna do great.
Apparently, the viewing audience that saw it last week said that too, Darius. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what changed so quickly that would make a Fandango site crash? So let me ask you, before we even get to that part of it, have you looked at Fantastic Four pre-sale tickets at your favorite theater, like your area?
I did. I think did I look at it yesterday? I might have looked at it yesterday.
Were there
and
seats available?
there were seats available, but there were also let me see here. I'm trying to look at it. There were seats taken. I want to see how many seats are taken now. And this is in the IMAX. If I can get to it. But yeah, no, I did check it yesterday, and when I checked it then, there it is. Okay, when I checked it then, there were seats gone. IMAX, and that was at they only had one showing at the time, but that was at the 921. So at this 921, there's still seats available, but there are seats taken. At this 241, Fantastic Four is screening to no one. And this 1241, they're screening to 5 people. And in that first one I said, that 921, it looks like they were screening to, I don't know, there looks like there may be about 12 squares there.
So this is anecdotal evidence, right? This is very, very heavily filtered, but I would argue that so is the data that's being presented as a positive for Fantastic Four. So I did the same thing. I looked. There was plenty of seats. There was more than available. Maybe a single showing, maybe like the first showing was pretty packed, but then the preceding ones, the 7, the 9, the midnight showing, all of that was still there. I think I seen Blue post a picture of his down in Florida. So I'm just trying to, number one, I understand that they're saying now that there were more tickets purchased on Fandango for pre-sale, that is, for Fantastic Four than any other movie this year. So that means it beat out Minecraft, beat out Sinners. It's doing well, right, in the pre-sale aspect of it. What I feel like that means, and when they talked about the apps crashing, I feel like probably the bigger markets that have a lot of the lion's share of the markets, your New York's, California market, your Texas, maybe your Las Vegas, maybe those areas had a large influx of tickets. And because their numbers are so large in those concentrated areas, maybe that's what caused the apps to crash. Because what I'm not translating is these could still just be rumors, right? It could have not gone this way. But yelling out mid at a screener, and then that being what leaks from the screener, and then people immediately go rush to buy tickets, that there's something ain't like, that's not how I add. You know what I'm saying? That don't sound like good math to me. So I'm thinking that, because there was also a point in here where they were saying that it made around the same amount of pre-sales that Thor: Love and Thunder did. And so maybe that's kind of the poison pill in all of this. We look good in the pre-sales. So historically, that should tell us that we should hit at this mark, which is, for Thor: Love and Thunder, was around 700 million. That was a movie market from 3 years ago. That movie market is not here today. And that also was a Thor project that was fairly successful in terms of box office returns. I don't think Fantastic Four has ever been successful at the box office, let alone during a Disney or a Marvel down spiral. I do think it's still going to have some competition from leftover people who hadn't seen Jurassic Park yet. The economy is going to play a big deciding factor here in July as prices for things continue to rise. I don't think everybody's going to see all 3 movies in July. I don't think this is an economy where you're going to see 3 blockbuster films on premium screens in 1 month, unless you have a movie pass or, some sort of membership set up where that's doable, right? But I don't think the average American is going to see 3 movies in July. There's going to be some picking and choosing. I think everybody's just assuming that, oh no, we'll get out here and we'll compete and it's good for the cinema. It's very good for the cinema. But ask Tom Cruise about Mission Impossible last year when he was sandwiched in between Barbieheimer. Okay, it only takes a couple of those films to kind of wash you out the way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I'm at with Superman and Fantastic Four. I think both studios are trying to pump positive narrative into the zeitgeist right now. I don't know. Man. That whole ticket sales thing though was very weird to me. It kind of came out of nowhere.
It definitely came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. I posted a poll on my Instagram to just friends, people I know. And I put in there excited, checked out, don't care. Everybody that put on there put excited. Again, that's not enough to say that the box office is going to be great and things like that or whatever, or that it was crashing the Fandango site. The last time I think a Marvel film crashed the Fandango site was No Way Home. So I don't know that
that's high praise.
The Fantastic Four has that star power like that.
You got somebody from California. Yeah, I got the stories. Everybody was talking about it, but when I went to go look, first of all, it pulled right up for me and there was the app wasn't crashed and I was able to see the seats. It just wasn't.
Yeah, there's
math is not mathing. Going from there were people at the screener yelling mid to now we're crashing the app, getting the pre-sales. Like, it just feels very convenient. It feels very convenient. But one place this will show is when they give first week tracking numbers, what they are expecting to pull in for their first weekend. You know, this film hasn't been approved by China yet.
I did not. Yeah, Johnny, that was different. I think we sometimes, because it's been a while, we forget what No Way Home did to the fandom. That was the only thing since Endgame that had done that to the fandom outside of WandaVision, that had done that to the fandom. Had the fandom, I won't really say that Deadpool had everybody like wondering and speculating and things like that. They were curious. People were curious, but it wasn't. And yes, the numbers, obviously Deadpool did fucking amazing in the theaters and things like that. But when you try to compare the two in terms of hype around the film, speculations around the film, day in and day out, people were analyzing Andrew Garfield. Day in and day out, people were trying to figure out what is going on set. People were breaking down the trailer, saying, look, he punched right there, but there's nothing there. So they must have seen that. I mean, people weren't doing that with Deadpool. They weren't. And it wasn't just the Fandango site for No Way Home. It was Fandango. It was AMC. I remember I started trying to get my ticket at 2 or 12 when they dropped them. I didn't get my tickets till 2. I had to get my tickets for me and 3 other people. That was a different time. Deadpool's all right.
Who said that? Culture Made. Yeah, I bet they would say it was fake. Why wouldn't they say it was fake? Why wouldn't they? Now, what convinced me is that, again, we got multiple reports from different sources that don't really mix in the same circles. So that's usually tell number one. Number two, it's the fact that they showed it to a public audience, right? You can't control what leaks out of. That's why they don't do public screeners. That's why they do friends and family stuff. Okay. So if it was public and this information got to random people from different spheres, or people that don't really talk to each other, I can't guarantee it because I wasn't there, but it seems like there may be some legitimacy to that, and they would have every reason in the world to deny it.
To be honest with you, I still don't think Fantastic Four is going to do. Maybe I was being too harsh the last time I talked about this. Maybe it does do those Thor: Love and Thunder numbers. Maybe it does. But I'm just going off of Marvel's record thus far this year in the theater. And those are characters that are known. Those are characters that people have been on journey outside of Thunderbolts. You saw some of them in TV shows, and Bucky was there, though. Bucky's been there since Captain America, and then you had some others. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be a very competitive July. I just don't know if we're fighting for second place, then maybe that's a better spot to be. If they're thinking that they're going to beat out Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World, excuse me. I just don't see that. I don't see that. And then it comes out after Jurassic Park, but before Superman and before SDCC, which they're not going to. So I guess that's not even really a factor. But it's sandwiched in between two other event films. So it's going to be very shaky. Like you would almost have to already be beating Jurassic Park by the time Superman comes out for your legs to continue. You know what I'm saying? If we're in week 3 of Fantastic Four and we have a brand new Superman film, and again, please put the economy into the equation here. The prices are going up. Everybody's not going to be able to go to the theater 1, 2, 3, 4 times in a month. So if we have to choose, we just went to go see Jurassic World when that came out the first week of July. What are we going to see next? We're going to go see Fantastic Four, or we're going to wait a week to go see Superman, or wait a week or two to go see Superman.
Superman comes out first.
I thought Fantastic Four comes out before Superman. So it comes out after both of those films?
Yeah. Superman comes out, what is it, the 11th?
Oh, okay.
And I think the 4 is the
later
20.
Than that.
Fantastic Four is the 25th.
I had those mixed up. I thought Superman was on the 25th.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So now let's just flip everything I just said about Fantastic Four. Flip it. It's Superman's problem. They would have to be already beating Jurassic World to think that they're going to leg out past Fantastic Four in that instance. You're already going to be dealing with the competition in your strongest weeks of week 1 and 2 because people will still be going to see Jurassic World. It doesn't bode well for you to be behind in that race and then, okay, here's a brand new Superman or a brand new superhero movie for people to go watch too. So that does put them in slightly better position coming out last. I'll be honest. That puts them in a much better position being last. Because it allows them to soak up the residuals, especially if you haven't seen either one of those two blockbusters in the beginning of the month, and you're like, shit, I'm missing all the movies. What can I see now? I got paid again. What can I see? Here goes Fantastic Four at the end of the month. So it's a very good spot for them to be in this whole trio. The thing is, it's still gonna have to leg out. And now it won't have as much competition as Jurassic World and Superman did, obviously, with them butting up against each other. But it still has to leg out, which means whatever people see in week 1 or week 2 of this movie has to be impressive and has to be enough of a spectacle for them to go out and be like, hey, y'all need to go see that movie. Y'all need to go see that movie. Because I keep hearing that Thunderbolts was a great movie. It was a very good movie. And nobody came. Nobody came. Pause.
That's why I keep saying I'm like, the track record here is just not it doesn't bode well. I know I saw some people getting excited, that are, and I'm rooting for the Fantastic Four too, because I'm still excited I'm still going to go see it. But I know that, there are people saying like, this is great, great news seeing Fandango, the site crisis means this is good for, okay, we'll see how this goes for the Fantastic Four. We'll see. I still don't even see the conversation around it like that. I guess that's just where I am. I'm always looking for the conversation. I'm looking for the hype, the theories. There's not even theories. The only theory people have is not even a theory. People are just saying, is he or is Doom is Doom or is he not in it? Is he or is he not in the post credits?
I thought he said that he wasn't.
He can.
Said he wasn't. Yeah, it still may happen. We talking about which movie? Buck's thoughts. Which movie you think is going to hit 5 to 6?
He's talking about Fantastic Four.
I can see Fantastic Four maybe hitting 500 or 600 million, but again, that's a success. Is that what we're going to sit up here and run it and say it's a success? 150 million more than Thunderbolts, and we're in there? No. And now it probably will be the most profitable Fantastic Four movie overall.
Oh yeah,
as it is. It's just not a very high claim. It's not a high bar.
I know.
How to Train Your Dragon. We'll see what DreamWorks does.
That comes
I'd
out
be
next week.
surprised if they were competing with Superman and Fantastic Four, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's next week. I'm thinking that's going to be pretty good.
Family movies usually leg out pretty well.
Yeah, I'm thinking that one's going to be pretty good. But that's Fantastic Four.
And those numbers, by the way, before you forget, those numbers would be right now without China. So 600 million domestically for Fantastic Four would be it would be pretty impressive, and it still wouldn't be what they were expecting to get from it.
I'll give him a 5, maybe. That's more generous than what I gave him last time, but we'll see. This you can choose to believe the Fandango is crashing, or is this something that they're just trying to drum up the hype to get people, talking about it? And then even then, I just wonder who is this reaching, on outside of us and people that really care about this stuff like that. Like who is it reaching? Like, are people like that, are casual Marvel fan? I'm about to close this. Are casual Marvel fans, that just go to see a Marvel movie here and there, or have, paid attention to the series is on and off? Are they at their offices, going into work the next morning? Did you see what happened on Fandango with the Fantastic? Like, is that or is that, like, who is this reaching? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, just crazy. Like, yeah, we're talking about it, but
it reminds me of everything they were doing in the lead up to Thunderbolts, trying to posture that this was going to be a big event film, and and like the money, the extra marketing that they put into that film, the asterisks, the new name reveal, it cost for them to go in and have all those theaters change the name from Thunderbolts to New Avengers. Like, that costs money. It's not free. Anything they do to promote this film is not free. And so I think that is kind of part of the calculus. If this isn't, a truly a real thing that happened with the demand of the tickets causing the sites to crash, and it's not just Disney fluff. If that's the case, then it's going to have to prove somewhere else, though. It can't just be these marketing scheme things where out of nowhere somebody's saying something extremely positive about a production that has had nothing but controversy for all these months. And it doesn't even have to be loud controversy. It could just be, delays, reshoots, your typical Marvel stuff. But then to get in that, and then, what we heard from the test screenings, and then immediately pivot to, oh no, this is going extremely well. Well, then why hasn't it been going extremely well before then? Like, if it's perfect now, why all of these weeks leading up to it has it been we're very nervous? Why did you show it to the public? Why didn't you do your standard Marvel friends and family? What, like, why are all of the red flags saying there's something wrong, but your lips are saying everything's great?
Yeah. It's on there. You guys can choose to believe it if you'd like. The Fandango site is crashing. Like I said, you can check your local theaters like Marcus and I did and see what those seats are empty or if they're full.
Mm-hmm.
The day I'm going, like I said, I'll be seeing it with at the moment 7 other people. So that is Fantastic Four. We'll I'm sure talk about that much more until the leading up into the 25th. Next and last is the Superman.
Yeah, you got.
I'm sorry, we got the super chat there.
Mm-hmm.
My fault. Let me get to that.
Get money, don't make no money. If I ever go broke, I'ma take your money. I ain't never drop a dime.
That's from Mitch Shed, who said, y'all know damn well F4 is gonna flop. Stop playing. That's my thought. I don't think it's gonna. I don't know. I keep going back and forth.
I think it's gonna make enough money that they can posture like it was a success. It'll fall in that $4 or $5 million $400 or $500 million range, and that'll be good enough for them to posture to the normies that that's a big number, and we did really, really good. But I think this next subject is going to tell you how the scale of how much these studios are spending, and B, what actually defines a financial success for these studios. Now, Fantastic Four could flop, and Marvel's going to be in a much better position than what Warner Brothers and DC would be in if Superman flops. That's 100%. I'm just not on board with saying that Fantastic Four is going to win just yet.
Yeah, I'm not either. I don't think I've said that yet. I think I'm still on the side of Superman beating them. But Superman's box office. What was the projection for that?
Oh, excuse me. So I believe it was somewhere around 177 million for the first weekend, which is it's decent. Problem is, all of this back and forth that we've been getting about the budget. So there was a rumor. Well, not really that much of a rumor. It was the tax filing for their tax exemptions, right? And they had the budget down as $363 million. So here, James Gunn, oh no, that's not true. That's incorrect. It's false report and blah, blah, blah. But again, I mean, unless the tax filing is fake, unless you lied on the tax filing, that's what the number was. So then they come out and they say, it's closer to 225 million. And that's obviously that got ran with. I actually heard that on Den of Nerds. Oh, well, that's what James Gunn says it is. So we have to act like it is. No, I ain't got to do shit but stay black and die. Hollywood Reporter comes out today and confirms that it's 400 million. So again, let's be clear. A lot of times, if an individual is telling you about numbers, right? If they are not in our sphere, they're not doing what we're doing. If they're a culture crave, discussing film, those kind of, they're usually going to give you production only, right? And it's a really dishonest way for, in my opinion, of talking numbers. If you're not going to talk about all the numbers, then you probably shouldn't enter into this realm of covering films, because it's dishonest. Them saying it's 225 million. Okay. Is that the production budget or is that the overall cost of the film? Because the production budget does not include how much it's going to cost you to market the film, the trailer making, getting it, all of the ad spots, the big ad spots that this movie premieres on. This movie was the first trailer came out during what sporting event? What was that?
That was the Super Bowl, was it not?
It was either the Super Bowl or All-Star Weekend. It was something around that time, right? That cost them
weekend,
millions of dollars to have that trailer premiere on during the NBA Finals. Shaquille O'Neal was sponsored in a ad buy for Superman. Do you think he did that for free? You think that because he got a Superman tattoo, he just did it for his homie James Gunn? Did it for free? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All of that stuff adds up. So now let's be generous. Let's say that they cost them a smooth 100 million to market this film. Aren't we somewhere in that range of what they were saying the original budget was? They said 363. James Gunn says, no, it's 225. Okay, well, we're pretty close to that 360 number when we add 100 million or so onto the budget for marketing. So the original number is what it is because that's what they calculated. That's why they put that on the tax form. Now, probably since they had to go back and reshoot after their test screenings that they went through, the budget goes up. That's how films work. That's how it goes. Yep. The budget that you start with usually is not the one that you end with. In anything, really. In anything. Building a house, starting a business, shooting a film. The budget you start with more than likely is not going to be the one that you end with. So this fallacy of these production only numbers that they're throwing out there, and then not even really explaining to the audience how you get the profitability on the production side alone. They're like, oh, well, it made $225 million. Guess we're profitable. No, Smalls. You're not even talking about the cost that it costs you to put this movie into the theaters. That's not marketing. That's not production. It cost the studios money to put these films into auditoriums. There's so much cost baked into making these movies. You see $1 million, big multi-million-dollar productions and think, oh, well, as long as they hit that number, then they've made money. Folks, I'm telling you, that movie has to go 2.5 times over to hit profitability. So if we're looking at a legit they already got the numbers up there. Okay, sorry. But yeah, if we're looking at a $400 million budget for Superman, it's got $1 billion too. It's got to make $1 billion too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Does anybody willing to bet? Come on, bet a bill right now that Superman's going to hit $1 billion too. Would be the big
surprise. I don't think that. I don't think it's making $1 billion too. At all.
So again, back to this conversation between Fantastic Four and Superman. Dog, hell if I know. But what I do know is that Fantastic Four ain't hitting the billy. And Superman for sure ain't hitting $1 billion too. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know. A Billy too. That's
a lot for profitability,
that's a lot,
y'all. Not as that's what they consider a win. That's their ideal target.
To be profitable.
That is what they need, just to make sure that they cover all their cost of making it.
That is a shit. Yeah, no, they're not doing that.
Yeah, good point, Ray. Sandwiched in between Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and Fantastic Four. It's I don't know where that audience is even going to come from.
They said James Gunn's future as head of DC Studios is now in doubt.
They've been saying that though. I told y'all that. And y'all, I told y'all that if Superman don't hit, that is going to be an issue for James Gunn. The entire preface of his relationship there at Warner and DC and his relationship with Zaslav is predicated on, can you make DC profitable? I merged this company together with Discovery for DC. Can you give me a DC universe like the MCU? Yes or no? And Superman is supposed to be the proof. It sure as hell wasn't Flash. For fuck sure it wasn't Blue Beetle or Shazam. Or Wonder Woman. I don't even think he was there for Wonder Woman 83. Yeah.
And they're talking about moving Supergirl up to that Avengers Doomsday date.
They need to. I think they believe in Supergirl. I think they think it's a strong project. If they believe in it, they need to get it out, especially while Marvel is running around chasing their tail.
What was it that was going around? I didn't find anything about it. I didn't see any articles or anything like that, but James Gunn's apparent 6-year plan.
Yeah, apparently there's a 6-year arc that he has planned for the DCU. It's again, it's like Kevin Feige's 10-year X-Men plan. Fam, it means nothing if you can't get past these next films. It means absolutely nothing. You may not even have a job. I don't want to hear about your 6-year plan. Make Superman. Let's see how Superman goes and go from there.
Like I said, there has never been a movie month that I'm more interested in than in July.
Oh, July is going to tell a lot, man. July is going to tell a lot.
Yeah, I'm very interested in July. July is going to be very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. I do hate that Fantastic Four is further away. I don't know why I got got their dates mixed up with Superman as well.
I thought Fantastic Four was the meat of the sandwich. It's Superman.
Yeah. They debuted the baby, Franklin. I believe he is CGI the entire time because he's going to be getting aged up and all that. So I think the baby is like Twilight. Or is that terrible CGI? But I don't think it's going to be terrible CGI. I don't know. They just showed it. They gave a very quick glimpse of him in that new tickets are on sale teaser.
Who has a better chance of drawing the audience in due to the spectacle? Is it going to be Fantastic Four with Franklin or something or another, Galactus? Or is it Superman and,
Man, that's tough. That is
the
tough.
Wonder Crew,
The only it's tough simply because the name Superman.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's why it's tough. It's just like, I think it's going to give you spectacle. I think just from, you know, the trailer. The trailer itself is more spectacle than the Fantastic Four trailers. The Fantastic Four trailers not been a lot of action in those at all.
I'm very thrown off by both of these trailers kind of shying away on the dialogue. I think the latest Fantastic Four trailer that they had going out had the most speaking out of both productions so far. But I know what's going on the Superman side. They're trying to hide the fact that they made a jokey joke Superman movie. They're dead.
Oh,
Did
you not see the newest clip that they released of
Yeah.
Lois talking to?
Almost every bit of footage that we've gotten so far from this movie had a baked in joke. How do y'all think it's going to come together? How do y'all think it's going to come all together? This is a jokey joke Superman film, and they're still trying to hide it. So that's what's giving me trepidation about them. But on the Marvel side, that's your home. That's where y'all like to be, is when you talk, explain our feelings, explain our history, talk. That's what y'all like to do. So the fact that there's not a lot of dialogue in the Fantastic Four trailers is very confusing to me, which also feels like they're trying to hide something. We've heard rumors of them kind of going forward with Sue Storm maybe being the team leader, or her at least handling some of the major conflicts in this movie coming up.
I don't even think that's a rumor.
I
think that is
Ball.
I think that's it. I think she is taking more of the lead position. I, in a rarity, watched a new Rockstars video that they did on the Fantastic Four, and I forgot what it was. It wasn't Fantastic Four. It was over the current filming and stuff going on with the actors for Doomsday and it being delayed and blah blah blah. So anyway, they got on the Fantastic Four, started talking about that. But even Eric said, when talking about the Fantastic Four, and was talking about how different where they're filming, what it could mean, what scenes they could be filming. He was talking about different heads and leaders of different groups, and he did not use Reed. He used Sue. So I don't know if they are going if it's really just Sue that's going. I mean, but somebody else pointed out that I even realized last time we talked about this was in the trailer when Shalabal asks, "Are you the protectors of this earth?" She says, "We are." She's the one that's answering.
Man, it's like we don't learn anything. We don't learn. You asking audiences to, trust in you, especially with what you've been doing through phase 4 and 5. And you're like, hey, we know, we get it, right? But we really worked hard on this one. Just take the female surfer. It's like, okay. And like, hey, we really worked on it, but like, take the female, the female-led project. We did it right this time. I promise you. And the biggest irony of all of that, if that's true, is that they changed Kamala Khan's powers because they didn't want it to be close to Reed Richards, right? Only for them to depower Reed Richards, because that's the only way Sue is solving a universe-ending conflict before Reed Richards. That's the only way that's happening.
I don't think they're taking his intelligence. I think he's still going to be like the brain of the operations.
That can't be, Darius. She can't solve the conflict, but Reed Richards is still the smartest person on the planet. It just doesn't. There is no room for that, right? If brains is Reed Richards' thing, which it is, it just is, right? There's no universe where brains is not Reed's thing. Even evil Reed is smarter than every other Reed, even Reed Prime, the Maker, right? Like that is Reed's thing. So if we're going to go that far, that tells me a lot about the film. And then I forgot about Joseph Quinn.
Let me make a rebuttal just really quick to whoever said that, because about Sue answering Shalabal. There is another scene in the trailer where Reed is addressing the city, the nation, the people.
Where he says, I don't know. Are we gonna be okay? He said, I don't know.
Well, no, he says he says more. He says, we're your protectors. We're gonna, da.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. What were you
gonna
say about
to be the setup and all of that is that yes, publicly Reed is the one that talks, and he stands out front because he's the man, and that's the way things are in the 60s. And so the whole undertone of the movie is how Sue Storm has really been the brains behind the operation the whole time, and she's the actual leader, and they just have to march Reed out there because they know misogynists and folks who don't like to see women in power. If you're going to waste my time on that shit, then like, first of all, I'm not going to go see it anyway. I'm not seeing it or reviewing it anyway. But you know what? We have to get to one more thing. I almost let it go by the wayside, but after this, I'm not showing up for that. Like, I'm not. We've seen you try to do that narratively in project after project after project after project after project after project, and you think picking up that same narrative and putting it in the 1960s, so making it a little bit more historically accurate, is something that's going to appeal to the mass audience. We have already screamed at you at the top of our lungs that is not what we are trying to interject into our superhero content. You don't do it adequately. You don't treat it with enough care to actually deliver on a story like that. Tell superhero stories. Tell a superhero story. I don't want your social commentary about how the strong woman behind the strong. No. I don't think you do that well anyways. And I have all of the evidence from the last two phases to prove it.
Right.
Tell a superhero story. Allow your woman's empowerment to be Sue Storm kicking ass with other ass kickers flanking her. But if you're trying to tell me that Sue Storms is the actual brain behind the Fantastic Four and Reed's just the pretty face, okay, I ain't got time for that. And I don't think a lot of people are going to have time for that either.
They better hope that's not what they're doing. Yeah, she's I'm ready. I'm ready to see this one. I keep flip flopping, going back and forth between it.
I
and
think
Superman.
my intrigue is on Fantastic Four. My wallet and my mind tells me Superman's a better bet, but we'll see. We'll see. The last thing I wanted to mention or bring up is that my boy Mike Coulter, you hear me? Mike Coulter was gabbing on his Instagram story, and even had a picture of him with am I mistaken? Was that him with the Daredevil writers, with the Daredevil team? In that picture that he took?
I didn't see it. Was it on his Instagram?
There was one of him just posting the Luke Cage poster. And then I thought he took a picture with him and some folks in a picture with him.
Let me see. This was on his Instagram?
I believe so, yeah. Damn, Brother Stark, I didn't even notice that her name showed up before Pedro Pascal in those chairs. Okay, so we got Sue Storm is really the brains behind the Fantastic Four, and T'Challa's bastard made up son is the new Black Panther. This sounds like a recipe for success. I can't wait for Doomsday.
Oh, this one here.
You got it?
Looks like this is a video.
I'm not seeing what you're saying right now.
Let me see. Let me see this here.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. Where is this at?
Looks like. Let me see.
What did he say? London.
The Dimensions Con.
Okay, so he's somewhere with Matthew Cox. So
for Marvel, something
at a con for Marvel with Matthew Cox at the same time that they recasted Christian Ritter to reprise her role as Jessica Jones.
He'll probably be in season 2.
I think Mike Coulter is making a return to Daredevil Born Again season 2, and that will be the first time that we review a Marvel property since Secret Invasion.
I think they are bringing him back because I don't remember what scooper it was. It might have been Alex at the Cosmic Circus that said season 2 was going to have the Defenders. They
were strongly hinting towards Jessica Jones. They hadn't confirmed. It seemed like Mike Coulter would, and they were talking about the special presentation with Punisher, and then also that Foggy was, spoiler alert, that he may or may not be coming back. But so if we doing all of that, how could we not
Right.
bring back Luke Cage? If you don't want to bring back Iron Fist, I completely understand, but Luke Cage at least, Luke Cage at least. So, yeah. That will be the first back of the bus reviewed Marvel project since Secret Invasion in 22. I think that was 2022.
Jesus, that show. Yeah, I think they're all coming back. Maybe not the Iron Fist. I know he's still begging.
I only required you to have a black mainstay character in a position of prominence. I'm back. I'm in. Let's talk some Luke Cage.
Luke Cage on the horizon. Luke Cage on the horizon.
What the helly?
What the hellion? I heard that your boy smoked it. Did they actually finish it out, or did that 12-point lead blown in the fourth quarter actually lose in the
Indiana
game?
completed the comeback. The pro
God
wrestling
damn
fan
it.
Tyrese
Someone
Halliburton.
stop Tyrese Halliburton.
Can't.
Stop him.
You know,
You can
I
only hope to contain
I
him.
was listening to, there's a sports station here, Sports Animal. They were talking about the Thunder game and all that kind of stuff, blah blah blah. And they were just, when you've never won a championship, you don't really know how to act, the conversation around it and things like that, blah 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 blah. Same thing with OKC fans. They do this often. I mean, not they haven't been here since 2012, but they do this often. When the Thunder, let's go back to when we played the Thunder, and they were all so high and mighty about, look at we're better than the Warriors and this blah blah blah. And then we saw what we ended up doing to them. But they did the same thing around that time. It's a lot of, and you should be high. You should be high on that praise and talking about your team. But the dude said today that they have the makings of being a dynasty, of repeating this for many, many, many years to come. I don't think so, personally. And I'm gonna be honest with you. And you say what you want to say or whatever. Had Steph not been hurt, we would have been playing them instead of Minnesota, and I don't believe they would have gotten past us. So I don't know that they can do this over and over and over and over.
Well, I mean, Steph he'll be 1 year older next year. Splitting his interest as well, because he's a general manager at Davidson now. So I do think that, another off season, another whole 82 game season, another play-in tournament, another mid-season tournament, it's going to add some miles to Steph. So now we talk about they got there this year. Okay, cool. Yeah. If they would have been healthy, if they were healthy this year, then maybe it would have looked different. And if they are healthy next postseason, maybe they will challenge Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Ant-Man and those
That's
younger
our problem.
guns. That's a big if.
That's the
it is a
for
problem
Steph,
because
Steph
for the last several years
stay
we've had
healthy.
injury concerns with Steph, and he's not getting any younger, and it's not like he's going to be putting a whole bunch of extra time into his body this summer because, again, he has a job at Davidson.
But see, this goes all the way back. This goes all the way back to the pool party. Had you not gotten rid of motherfucking Jordan Poole, you would have had a backup point guard that could have come in there, and let's not you looking to the left and right and down, acting like the pool party wasn't a sensation that we was all jamming at.
Jordan Poole, who I love, Michigan great, right? He had to get past his issue with the core of that team to stay there, and it was clear that he was never going to. So one of them had to leave. They chose, we got to build around what we were left with. And I don't think that they necessarily chose wrong, because I don't think trading your defensive integrity.
They chose wrong. No.
Well, trading your defensive integrity for scoring, I don't think solves your issue. I don't think that solves your issue. Cutting off your nose to spite your face doesn't really help. Now, them getting Jimmy Butler to add with Draymond, and I think they added Buddy Hield too, right? Buddy Hield still is on that team. So they accounted for the lack of scoring. I did think it was what you said. It was a healthy Steph. Are you going to be able to count on the healthy stuff in the postseason next year too?
No, I don't. I hate to say that. I don't think so. You have players. Not every player is dirty like Brooks, but you got players like Brooks and sitting in conferences saying, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely going at his thumb." I'm going at his thumb, and like your players consciously go at hell. I used to tell my kids if somebody was hurt, go at his right, go at his left, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure they are. But this motherfucker's sitting right on the conference talking about, oh yeah, I'm intentionally hitting his thumb. So yeah, when you got shit like that going on, I mean, yeah, it's tough.
It's a young man's game, man. It's a young man's game. Steph knew he was going to be here one day. He's the wounded old veteran. How long does he stay in the pack?
Johnny asking me about pods. Hell no.
We got one more super if we're looking in the comments.
Yeah, let me go to that.
Get money, don't make no money. If I ever go broke, I'ma take your money. I ain't never drop a dime.
And it was from Brian Fisher, and he said, if F4 goes MCU, it's dead on arrival.
I don't care for that moniker, but I agree with the sentiment. If that's what they're still trying to force to the audience, it would be a colossal mistake. And I honestly, based off of what I've heard and what you just told me, I don't see how it's anything other than that.
Brian, this was written 2-3 years ago. Donald Trump wasn't the president yet. They were still waiting.
Nah, I can't give them that excuse, man. There's been too much time and energy put into Fantastic Four and too much time to see where that stuff was going to allow it to get this far for this movie. I can't. That might actually push them behind Superman. Like if that's what they're doing, if they're going to try and convince you and rewrite the hierarchy of the family, the first family, who's actually running the show. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I was trying to get us to exactly 2 hours, and we're a few minutes shy. Say something, Chill.
Did we touch on all of it? We touched on every.
I think I even dropped back into the bag to give the Mike Coulter news, and we're still shy about a minute.
Yes,
minutes and
35
seconds.
I'm all for the Superman box office being high. I can see it hitting 150, 16. No, 150. I can see that. Overall, if it touches Jurassic World, it'll be because Jurassic World didn't satisfy the fans, not because of Superman does so well.
You're talking about opening weekend. You can see it hitting 150 million. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I meant by 150 million. Were you guys talking about the projections of Superman?
So yeah, I think it was somewhere in between 150 and 177 was its first week projection. But
177 is madness, and I don't know if that can happen. But haven't seen the promotion yet.
Let's say it hit 177. If they spent 400 million on the movie, that's nothing.
What's expected?
That is nothing.
If they spent 400 million on the movie, God,
that's according to Culture Crave, right? Oh no. According to Hollywood Reporter, now they're saying it's 400 million. So that thing's got to hit $1 billion too.
Can I say though that
around 300?
They also make money off of licensing, and with the Superman movie, you can license lots of things that have the name Superman on it, which could offset that. We don't have to look just at theatrical.
But that will be. They'll have to put those numbers in a whole quarter later. Like they won't be able to claim that as a success for a long time.
But there's more usage of the Superman movie than just a theatrical revenue. They could.
I found it. I think I found it.
Sorry, I heard something.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's my fault. I guess they dropped a new ad for Superman.
So what you're talking like crazy. About?
Let me get my point out.
Go ahead.
That the theatrical revenue is fine. That's a stream of income. This is also launching a film universe. So I get why you would go all out. You want to make sure it's the best movie that you can with the best resources, the most special effects, could be the most specialist. And then, since everyone is invested now in Superman, in the future we will get more customers. Not everyone's going to watch this in the movie theater. They'll also watch it on a streaming service, and they've got their way to calculate how much of the streaming service, how much eyes it brought and a value to it. But some people who didn't watch it in the theaters will go, "Whoa, this is great! Superman is an awesome movie. When's the next one? Supergirl's coming out in July. Okay, then that's on my radar." And they've got all year of Superman being the primary like banner on their HBO Max, the primary banner, Superman, check it out. And that's creating buzz, creating interest. And if the end credit scene of Superman does a smart thing and features the character we're about to introduce next in Kara, then we are doing something worthy of this inflated budget, because it's going to, we anticipate a 6-year plan. We anticipate us doing that. It's worthy of all the money, even if the theatrical revenue doesn't break even, which it still could, because this could make over $1 billion.
So the argument that you're making, I think, works a lot better for Fantastic Four than it does for Superman. And the reason being is that Marvel, when you talk about their downline products, the stuff that they can merchandise out and the way that they can make money outside of the theater is much more plentiful than DC right now. Superman is DC. What Superman ride are you going to go ride this summer? How are you going to interact with a cosplaying Superman as part of a paid experience this summer? How are you going to do that?
People have been doing that all their life.
I can already tell you how Marvel plans to capitalize on Fantastic Four outside of the theatrical in parks, right? Like that is the most plentiful revenue source to try and rake back in off of a theatrical experience that DC just doesn't have. Like, yeah, there are the t-shirts and the lunch boxes, but that stuff's only going to sell if the movie is good. People are going to Disney World regardless, and they're going to pay any amount of money that they can to get back in there. If
you're wrong, though. You're wrong that it'll only sell if the movie is good. It will sell when there's no movie out. I'm
saying the things that DC has, their downline products to try and recoup whatever they didn't make from theatrical, streaming isn't it. Yes, streaming will help you get subscribers. It'll help boost up HBO Max, but they're not making back movie production money on streaming. The products that they sell based off of the new Superman movie, absolutely. That'll trickle back in. But the streaming revenue it's not a direct line back to the theatrical experience.
But they tell themselves that, so I'm giving them
that. Well, sure.
Tell themselves
but it's a lie. It's a literal lie. Like, we can track the money and show you how it doesn't go back to the theatrical experience. What I'm saying is that if Superman flops, DC as a studio is in a much worse position than Marvel would be in if Fantastic Four flops. Like, there's so much more room in between that. So I don't think it's necessarily a case that they can just completely miss the mark theatrically and then still have the confidence of investors, even Zaslav after that, to even get to Supergirl. You think we're going to make it to May 2026 on the same course we're on now if Superman isn't financially viable? I don't think Warner Brothers can withstand that. They just don't simply have the cash flow coming in that Disney does. So it puts them in a more precarious spot. I think your argument works a lot better for a company that can simply shift those losses on a whole nother industry, like resorts. Warner Brothers need parks. Why doesn't Warner Brothers have a theme park? Like, why are we here in 2025?
Isn't Warner Brothers theme park basically Six Flags? Because that's where Superman, Batman, Bugs Bunny, and all the rest of them are.
Well, we know Six Flags is closing down, but they also license out
Six Flags is
closing to Universal.
News to fucking me.
Paramount. They sell their stuff to other people. They don't have their own space to send people every summer as a pilgrimage. That's Disney, and that money is covering all of their theatrical failures.
Where should the WB theme park be at? Somewhere warm, right? Texas, maybe?
Yeah, you got to put it somewhere warm because you want people to go as many times as they can. So
Universal is in Orlando. Disney also has Orlando and LA.
They could try northern Florida.
I would
Like
do Orlando also, or in the neighborhood.
Jacksonville, Key West maybe isn't a bad place to explore. Because they would also want that sweet Disney setup where they actually have their own districts to govern themselves and create their rules and stuff like that, so they don't have to listen to local government. So it's got to be somewhere where they can.
You
set
know
that.
what? I was just at Six Flags. I didn't see Superman walking around.
But they're not incentivized to make Superman walk around. They probably have
They're
like a
not.
Superman ride. They probably
They're
did something
not,
else.
Yeah, that's the benefit of having your own park where all of the experiences are tailored around your theatrical.
But yeah, that's just making money
product.
though.
Yeah.
That's just a money making machine.
Yep.
And streaming is not. Oh,
Yeah.
the other things though, like you put Superman's logo on T-shirts and you're good. Fortnite and you're good.
Superman merchandise is selling now based off of that type of recognition. The type of makeup you're talking about is only going to happen if there's an influx of interest.
Yeah,
if nobody went
movie's
to go
good.
see the movie, then who's going to go buy the lunchboxes? They're going to go buy Fantastic Four stuff. They're going to go buy Jurassic World stuff.
You know how expensive these figures are, and then the cost to produce them is really, really cheap. The movie.
People are only going to be interested enough to buy that at a rate that makes a difference if the movie is good. Those are not things that create large amounts of revenue.
And I'm not anticipating a bad movie.
Oh, it doesn't have to be a bad movie, but their target is $1 billion too. This could be a great movie and still not hit its target. Thunderbolts. It could be a good movie, an audience-pleasing movie, and still not hit its target because they spent so much getting there. That's the game you play. You can go your way, like you said. We're going to build this thing up as high as we can so that it trickles down to the rest of our universe. But if your boss is a money-hungry, where's my results type person, which he absolutely is, he gave himself a $50 million bonus in the middle of them dragging themselves to the finish line. So if he's like that, and he's going to want to see the proof of it all, because you haven't been able to prove it to him in any other fashion. If Superman can't be profitable, who's going to be?
If this movie doesn't gross that 1.2 billion and it only grosses 800, there's okay.
That's close. That's
400 millions apart, and honestly, it's more like 100.
Like talking about where they may consider that a success.
Can I get the whole point out?
I'm agreeing with you,
but you didn't know I was gonna go with it. I was gonna go somewhere else with it.
I'm literally setting you up to make your next point. I'm not stopping you from saying what you're saying. You don't have to moan about it every time one of the 3 people on the panel speaks over you. It's going to happen. I was trying to help you, but go ahead, Chill. Take us out.
That 1.2 billion you called to the target, it might only hit 800 million. That's 400 million, and honestly, that's more so of 200 million, because it's not like of that 400 million, Warner Brothers sees all of it, the theater get a cut also. So there's 200 million, that they need to make up, and it only grossed 800 million in the box office. We need 200 million. What are we gonna do? Okay, I think that you can license the 200 million. You can get your 200 million from a lot of other avenues that are not the movie theaters. 200 million is not that much for a successful movie. If you look at something like the Black Panther movie, I don't have no data in front of me. I don't have data at all. But I know that there were over $200 million of non-movie theater related things. Same with the Avengers, and same with like these major. Why is Chill being so aggressive? I'm not. There's so many outlets that they can make money off of the Superman brand while the movie is in the movie theaters, and 200 million can happen, right? It can happen. They can hit that 1.2, just not with the movie theater. And there's a book that's out, actually. I think that's canon. There's a novel. However many million they make from that, 2 million, 3 million, that's added to the pile. T-shirts, there's going to be multiple T-shirts from multiple other superheroes. Miss Terrific's in there. There's a Green Lantern in there. So many toys that they can make up that missing 200 million because their movie only grossed 800.
Darius, what you think?
I don't know that I agree. I don't know that Superman outside of the what they're doing currently with the promotion stuff, like as far as merchandise and toys and things like that, Over Fantastic Four? I don't think so. When it comes to merchandise and things like that, this is already an invested universe. People are already invested in this. Yes, they might be falling off and things like that, but people are still going to go out and get merchandise and things for the Fantastic Four. Prime example, they just re-released the Black series. That's Star Wars. The Marvel Legends Fantastic Four set group. They come individually, but they just re-released that wave. Gone. People, I have that wave already, but it's gone. People are, trying to get it. Why? Because it's like, now I was just at Walmart in the section looking for some stuff, and they have the Superman that looks like the characters that look like the movie people and things like that, blah, blah, blah. Those were still there. That doesn't mean it's not an indication on anything. I'm just saying, I think as far as the promotion outside of the theater goes for Fantastic Four, I think Marvel is doing a much better job hitting it a nail on the head.
If the product doesn't move, look, we order comic books. Sometimes a comic book sells out, and many ignorant people will say, this is great news, it's sold out. If these Fantastic Four toys that you're talking about sold out, I'm going to have to ask how many were produced in the first place. Did they look at Thunderbolts and Brave New World and all the other underperformers, Shang-Chi, Eternals, ever since Endgame, and did that store where it's sold out, Darius, did that store go, I'm not going to order too many? And look, it's sold out, but you didn't order as much as you should be ordering. The sellout thing is not something I'll be fooled by.
Well, that
and
store is Walmart. It's Walmart exclusives, so that's on their website. You cannot get those in stores. When it comes to certain Walmart exclusives for Marvel Legends, they will put them explicitly on the website, and you either get it off the website or you don't. I don't know how many were put on the website, but I know they're gone.
That's what I'm saying, though. That is the crux. I don't know how many were put on the website. Maybe they only had 1 million to sell, but if this was 2019, they would have had 3 million to sell. I don't know that.
Let's assume this is sound. So if they're doing that, they're basing it off of the performance of the market leading up into that purchase, right? Would that be any different for the merchandise for Warner Brothers? What would signal them to purchase more Superman stuff? So it's kind of
because it's Superman.
Industry is kind of connected in that way right now, that all of them are seeing that same sort of decline based off a reputation.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can say because it's Superman.
No, I'm back with what Marcus was saying towards the ending of it. Yeah, the rising tide raises all ships, but it's a low tide. So even the Supermans would be low also. Yeah.
Yep. So I see it, right? It could be anecdotal, and he could have just ordered a smaller amount of Fantastic Four merch because of how Marvel was doing, and that's why it sold out. But if that's the case, they're definitely doing that same thing on Superman as well. So
then there's going to be a second wave, though, of toys, 3 months later, but there'll be a second wave of Superman memorabilia to get, and people will be like, yeah, I loved the movie, and I'll go order it. So you may not get all your money right now with the theatrical run. You have up until Supergirl, I think, where you're just going to be counting the money and counting the toys. And, Hasbro wants in on this? Cool.
Well, not only that, Marvel also did the movie experience. They released the Galactus Buckethead, and how it's the biggest Buckethead, that's ever been made, and things like that. I think AMC is having their employees dress up as Superman characters. I don't know if they're going to be like...
You ain't going to see them.
Yeah.
You ain't going to see them. Dress up all they want. You'll never see them.
Full Superman suits or whatever. But, I think that popcorn bucket promotion thing is pretty cool. I definitely want one. I've never really gone for the popcorn buckets, but that one looks pretty cool.
I like to get the cups. The buckets are just a way of giving you less popcorn. Like I'm not into the popcorn buckets.
See, this is what you got to do. I've already explained this. I keep my bucket. So the bucket I just had for Lilo and Stitch, I will be taking it back as my free refill.
You get a cheaper refill, but you get less popcorn in the promotional.
That's why you take your bucket in there with you. You have your promotional bucket. You have your bucket of popcorn.
You buy an actual new bucket of popcorn and just fill your bucket up.
So this time what I'm doing, because I'm taking my promotional bucket, and I know, like you said, it's not going to be as deep as the other bucket. So I'm going to have them refill my bucket my plastic bucket, because the AMC, the head comes from AMC.
Mhm.
Pause. The the Galactus popcorn bucket comes from AMC.
Right.
So I don't go to AMC, I go to Warren's. I'm gonna go buy it from AMC, but I'm taking my bucket from Lilo and Stitch into AMC as my free refill. I'm gonna take that free refill and dump it into
the refill. Yeah,
Yes.
I usually take my refill home, but I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Pull up to that with already a popcorn bucket.
yeah.
Definitely.
No, I mess with the promotional cups though. I've got a lot of them. I got Wicked, Snow White, Fast and Furious. I got a lot of stuff up in my.
I like that tactic of milking your audience. There's certain people who will pay for that, and it won't matter to them if it costs $15 for a bucket or $70. How much
shit gonna cost you $30 anyways? You might as well get a souvenir from it.
Is it actually 30? Really?
So my number one combo in Columbus costs anywhere from like $22 to $26. Yeah, and that's just a large popcorn, large drink.
Yeah, it's $23 for the large popcorn, large drink. How much this Galactus one is, I'm really not sure.
But whatever the price is, since you're not like making everyone have to pay for it, you're really just making the diehards pay for it. Fine,
right.
Let those people, let the Dariuses
like
pay
if
for
you
something.
Want it,
go make your money, AMC.
Go after it, yeah.
Yeah, this is they're doing all this stuff. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just want the bucket. I don't care about any of this.
Yeah, see, like the top cups, the ones to the right. Though, oh no, that's not a cup. What is that?
You don't want a cup. You don't want to slurp on the cup.
Yeah, pause.
Just head.
You. I think it's about that time, fellas.
Yeah, I just yeah.
I think it's about that time.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
thank you for coming to another Pantheon. I'll make sure to watch all the parts that I missed.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching us through game one. Who's watching the NBA anyways? Who cares? Pantheon's on.
Yeah. The game was here, wasn't it? It was here.
Yeah.
Damn. So I know he upset now.
You don't even know what's going on in your city.
I know. Downtown is right there. I can, because I live in the city and I can step outside and
you can hear the silence.
No, you know what's funny? They just built this like high-end experience because they're trying to, build all this shit down which they've done a really good job building up downtown now, but they're trying to do more on like the river walk side of it and blah blah blah. Anyway, they just built this high-end like resort. It's called like Okana. And it's funny because us living here and knowing how much it costs to stay there, and it's like your view is what some crackheads, the E-Express, that Waffle House. So it's like if you get that big, nice ass room, that's your view. I'm like, what the fuck?
A resort in Norman, Oklahoma is aggressive.
Oklahoma City.
You can. Don't call Oklahoma City. Don't even call it a resort. Just call it what it is. Call it a motel, but it's a spicy motel. It's a very nice motel. It's probably like the nicest red roof you've ever been in.
And you know what, Chill, you gonna stop trying to shit on the city. You said the silence. We from here can shit on the city. You don't know what we got here.
Silence.
Okay, that wasn't like shitting on the city. That was because you lost the basketball game. That's all that meant.
I know you're not defending them after going on the whole Warriors tirade.
I'm not defending.
We beat them, and they wouldn't have beat us, and all this.
Hey, I'm not defending OKC Thunder. I'm defending.
Now he got city pride.
OKC.
That's crazy.
The 405. That's what I'm defending.
Would you like if they traded Wardell to your team, to your city?
I would love it. I'd be at every practice. I'd love it. I told you when he came here, I have a video. I next time I have to show y'all. Yeah, I waited a long time, and I have the video. He touched my hand. It happened, and then he proceeded to walk to his bus. He didn't stop and talk, and that was good enough for me. Some people would have been ungrateful. Some people was telling me, "Oh, my cousin was with me." He's like, "That's what we waited for. That's exactly what the fuck we waited for."
And then he took that hand and he made Netflix Good Times.
All right, you're gonna leave Wardell alone anyway. Thank you for joining the Pantheon stream. We will be back next Thursday. Chill, are you live this week?
I'll probably go live and I'll talk more about Chester.
Marcus?
Josh called him Cracker. But no, I don't have anything going on until Sunday. So catch us at 4:00 on Back of the Bus for some Dubs and L's and Behind the Cape.
Nice. Corey and I might
we
be
got supers
live tomorrow. Did we have another one?
Yeah, we had some supers.
I think we missed one more.
Ooh,
We
check
did 4.
that.
It was the 5th one.
Brother Stark said Blair Underwood as Dr. Adam Brashear.
Very good casting. Strong casting. I think it would line up with him and that character very well, actually. Why have we never heard that before? Why has that never been a fan cast?
That has never been a fan cast. That is actually the first time I've ever even thought about having Blair. How old is Blair now?
Yeah, seamless. And
60?
it would work.
Let's see. Blair's got an Instagram, been posting on it. What's he looking like now? Oh, okay. Yeah, that still works. Blair's still Blair. Black didn't crack.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he could definitely do it.
He could play younger and the older version.
And the older, yeah.
He'd be perfect for the flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Then touch of gray on the left and on the right, and he can play the older version.
Like, I'm literally seeing him right now being told that he can't be the first black superhero, and his stunned face. Like, how could you? What is the meaning of this? John, you're the leader of the civil rights movement. Nah, I can't be a black superhero. I like that. Hey, good
It's
job.
usually Michael Jai White and Denzel, which it could still be Denzel. We don't know. We don't know what part he's written for him.
Who said that?
You got me and your no, not
Brother
Denzel.
Stark. That was a good job. Good casting. Yeah.
That is. There's another one. I think it was from Brian Fisher.
To Cheshire.
To Caucasian. To Cracker.
To Cracker is the best.
To Chad.
Give that one to Josh. That was
too close to Chadwick Boseman. To Clan.
To Clan.
All right,
bro. I'm going with to Chester. You guys say whatever you want to say, though.
Not to Chester is good. It's good.
Yeah, this one from Brian Fisher. That was the last one.
Yo, saw Token Fighting Souls game. Looks awesome.
I'm not a gamer.
I've seen it.
I'm actually currently replaying the God of War because I just got my PS5.
Which one?
I'm replaying the third one right now. Then I'm going to, because I've only watched the cinematics of God of War 4. I haven't played, so this will be me playing. God of War 3 is by far one of the best, though. You know, killing the way you kill the gods, that shit is just bar none. Like, yes, crazy. If you never play God of War out there, you definitely should play it. Definitely play it.
It's a Marvel game.
Go back and play the old console games first, so you get the actual story. I understand the.
But you're talking about the first and the second.
First
trilogy.
trilogy.
Definitely. That's what I'm playing now. I mean, I've played that first trilogy so many times, but the first one, when you become the God of War, then the second one, going after Zeus, and then the third one actually getting to him. It's worth it. Like, it's fun. It's fun.
Don't waste your time on Chains of Olympus. Don't get a PSP to play that game.
No, that
Just
was
keep
not,
going.
I fell in that trap. That was not it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely play it.
I would say best fight was Ares. I like the Ares fight more than Hercules fight, but that was like
you're talking about killing. In the original one. And the third one, though, just the different way you kill him, like the way you kill Poseidon, the way when you rip Helios's head off. That shit is just like Kratos is that he is black. He's that nigga. So love Kratos.
Man rode the back of Gaia all the way to Olympus. Was pulling her hair, making her climb.
I saw this game advertised that's got all these characters in it. The Token game you're talking about. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Dope. You got 4-on-4 action. They even featured Storm somewhere in here. There's voice acting. That's pretty cool.
Ghost Rider. Holy shit.
It looks nice. So good for them,
I'm
Oh,
with all the
Wonder.
playable
Yes, I
characters.
did see
Doom,
this.
Captain America.
Yeah, they got all the big ones, right? You got
Nice.
Kamala Khan in there. You know, this trailer needed to feature somebody black. They got Storm in there.
Mhm.
What about T'Challa? Whatever's Black Panther? I guess no.
He'll be in there, right? Maybe.
He should be in there, but
Mhm.
how uneasy do we feel right now when it comes to
Very,
what
very.
they've been showing us? Like, it's been
Yeah.
disgusting.
Nah, for sure.
So yes, I did see that trailer, Brian. I thought it was cool.
I did see that actually. I didn't know that's what it was called, but I did see that. But yes, like I said, thank you guys for joining us on another Pantheon stream. We will be back next Thursday. Final thoughts? Anything else? Nothing else?
I'm streaming tomorrow. Check me out.
Then we out.
Hey, I've been watching y'all every single time on Thursday and Friday because I swear to God, y'all switch up every now and then. But rock out. I'm fucking with it. I'm out.
Thank you, Josh.
Appreciate it.